In this entry task, I'm asking you to do something really, really simple. I want you to think about why we do long division. You know, why do you think we teach you that in our math classes? And then what are some purposes that we use them for? So again, why and what purposes do we use them for in our everyday life? So I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Think about that, and I want you to write your list down, and we're going to go over that as a group in a couple of minutes. Okay, three, two, one. Now I want to write on the board a list of reasons why you think, as students, why you think we do division and what are our daily uses for division problems. So I'm going to take another break from this video and I'm going to come back and we're going to go over the list that I came up with as well. So we're going to look at yours and then we're going to look at mine. We're going to compare the two and contrast the things. And I have my list of things and I just did a brainstorming activity and just thought of some ways that we can use division in our everyday life at school and at home and everything else. So I've come up with a list and there are some similar answers to what you've come up with, I'm sure. So let's just look at them. Let's look at number one. Number one, dividing tasks into parts. So um, we may have a task at home to do like chores or something. You might have 10 jobs in your house, and my kids do this all the time. My wife will give them a list. They look at the list. There's 10 things on the list. There's two of them. They divide them up into even amounts of tasks, and one will do five of the tasks, and one will do the other. So we could divide up tasks. That's one way. Number two, dividing a trip into distance or sections, miles and kilometers. Well, I do this all the time when we're traveling from here to Portland or here to Canada or going on a trip. I'll take the total miles that we're going and I'll say I want to make like two breaks or something, and I'll divide the time or the miles up into parts, and then I'll try and figure out where is the city that's 1 hour away, 2 hours away, 3 hours away, or whatever, and take a break so we can divide that way. Number three, lots of times in class we'll have science experiments and we need to uh, break up the whole class into groups of 2 or 3 or 4. So I'll do that and we'll see how many left over we have. Number four, time into intervals like class periods. We have a certain amount of minutes per day, uh, and we'll have 7 periods or 6 periods or whatever the number is. We have to do a division problem to figure out how much time there will be for each of the periods and how many minutes we have total in the day. Number five, students into groups. Uh, we do this all the time, and it's kind of like uh, number three, but maybe we'll say like group uh, identifying students with hair color or calculating um, the percentage of the people that are in the class that have blonde hair, or the number of girls, or the number of boys, or the number of baseball players to soccer players, or whatever. So we can group students into groups, and that's a statistical thing, and we'll get into that later as well. Number six, money between people. We always divide money between people. So I know if I have $20 between my wife and I'll say, okay, you get 15 and I get 5 because that's fair in her eyes. So ha ha ha, that's pretty funny. But anyway, we would divide that into two and I'd get 10 and she'd get 10. Calculating mean, we calculate the mean or average of things all of the time in science when we're doing data tables. We'll have 5 samples. We're going to have to add up the total and then divide by the number of samples. So we, in calculating mean, very, very important. So we'll use that a lot. And then maybe calculating your average or your percentage on a test. That's simple division. You get 20 out of 25, you have to divide the 20 by 25. So here's some simple explanations of how we use long division. And then why do we need to do the operation ourselves? Why do we have calculators? Why do we need that? Well, sometimes we don't have calculators. So I've actually drawn a line down here, and here is the big answer, right? We don't always have calculators, so we have to be able to calculate and do division problems in longhand.